everyone to the Think Positive podcast. It's our first episode. Are you guys super excited?
So excited.
I'm excited. I'm sure all the fans are excited. They've been waiting a long time to hear you.
Oh, yeah.
It's what? At least a couple weeks since you posted the coming soon video?
Yeah.
Let's turn it down a little. And yeah, let's get going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, first episode, we want to make sure you guys all know who Kelly is. So this will be just a quick introduction to who she is and what she does and all of that fun stuff, right? You look so happy and smiley today.
No, I'm just a little nervous.
That's all. So, it'll be fine. It'll be all good. It's first podcast, but luckily enough, it's ran by the greatest host master of all time.
Right.
So I'll be here backing her up and everything. So, first things first, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm here. I'm behind the scenes. It's nice to be behind the scenes for once.
Right. You're always in front of the camera. I'm usually the one behind the scenes.
All right, this is a pretty nice setup we got for you back here.
Yep.
So now I get to push buttons and make things look pretty and whatnot. You even got your nice little smooth groove going on in the background. It's pretty awesome, huh?
Yep.
So, big thing. We want to make sure we get this out of the way. What's the big thing you're looking forward to doing podcasting in general?
I want to share what I know about dogs to people listening. So people, especially people in Chicago, can get to know dogs a little better through this podcast and know the little things that I do. And yeah, get to know me a little bit.
All right. And you're a fan of podcasting to a certain degree, in the sense that you listen to it.
I do, a lot, yeah.
And one of the things you mentioned was there's a lot of podcasts where it's dog trainer to dog trainer.
Yeah, or it's, dog trainers that talk at a level that's way too high.
Yeah.
And it's not really relatable to the everyday man.
So no, this is good. And your big goal, and you mentioned it a couple times to me at least, is that you want to make sure that you're doing something for not the common folk, but for just the easy listeners,
Right.
You want people who are just, riding to work and they want to learn something new, which is the great thing about the podcasting world in general is everybody's learning, everybody's picking up new stuff. So you want to make sure you make it easy for everybody.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, first thing we should probably get into is what got you into training?
I started a little over 10 years ago at an animal shelter like most trainers do. I started as a kennel cleaner, just picking up poop and feeding the dogs and walking and doing things like that. Eventually, the head trainer there invited me to be her apprentice. And so I worked under her for a couple years. So I fell in love after that. I always watched trainers on TV, Victoria Stilwell specifically. But yeah, I loved it and had a great time there. It was one of my favorite things to do after school and on the weekends. I loved every minute of it there. It's hard work, but I loved it.
Definitely. Makes sense. So other than picking up poop, I'm assuming that would be the most unfun job there.
Yeah.
How about we start with that? What's the least fun thing doing in a shelter?
I would say it's not more of the doing. It's more of what you see in a shelter. It's seeing the dogs that have kind of learned that there's no hope. And they're kind of broken down to the point of they feel like there's nothing left of life.
Right.
And it's really sad to see. The good thing about those kind of dogs, though, a lot of the time they do bounce back after a long time, but a lot of the time they do bounce back.
Right. And I'm sure that's just a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
Just making sure you stay consistent with your training, making sure repetition is key in any field. So
That's right. Yeah.
I'm sure it goes leaps and bounds when it comes to animals.
Yep.
So, we got the negative out the way. So, what about the positive? Gotta think positive here, right?
Right. Yeah. Positive. Think positive. yeah, it's seeing all the good that you did. It's, you got to play with puppies. That's always a good thing.
Right.
Seeing dogs that have been in horrible situations that just don't even think about it. Went straight over their head and went on to have amazing families and just amazing lives, and they just don't even think about being in those horrible situations that they literally were just in. That was the best part for me.
Definitely. Let's see. Story time. Can you think of a dog that you remember that just glossed over a situation like that?
So our shelter was one that took in a lot of like dog fighting cases and like really aggressive type cases. So we took in pit bulls and bully type breeds a lot. So we, got in a bully mix that his name was Cash. And he came in and he just was one of their top fighters and won all of his fights and did all of his things and, did all of his stuff. And he, after being with us and doing all of our training, he kind of went around and became a really good family dog after all of that. So it was good. He went on to have 2 human brothers and sisters. So it was really cute.
Well, that's good. That's a good story. That's a definitely one of those feel-good stories, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And a cool name at that, too. Cash is
Yeah.
not a name you hear often.
Full name was Cash Flow.
Cash Flow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was with negative sense because of the dog fighting thing.
It was,
still a cool name.
his name was Cash, and it was cute.
That's really cool. All right, so how about this? We're going to go on a small little mini tangent here. You got to give me the number one dog name that you are tired of hearing.
I'll give you your favorite one, because I know that's what you're prying for.
No. I have my preferences, but I'm sure you have one that you're sick of.
So we got this dog, also a bully. His name was DOG, like capital DOG, like dog, right? But they were really serious about his name being called, like, pronounced DOG. Right. And so yeah, we just thought, oh, they just named him Dog. Like, that's just his name. They just say it weird. And I didn't know until I met you and you kind of explained it. Like, no, he was probably just their, like, favorite dog.
Hey, and he's the OG. That's the OG.
Yeah. So, DOG. So, cool name.
Oh, that was definitely a cool one. What's your least favorite name? Or I guess maybe a name that's super uncommon. Like, super common that you're just like... Oh,
super common.
Yeah, like something that just like, come on, man. You guys got to get a little more creative.
Every male, I swear, is named Max. And every female, I swear, is named Bella or Belle.
Really?
And it's everywhere. And it's nothing against those names. If your dog's named that, nothing against it.
Of course not. No, we're not picking on dog names. We're just like, come... We like creativity around here. Yeah. So
good. Come on. You could do better. Especially when, like, Twilight was a thing. Like, there was so many Bellas.
True. I didn't even think of that. I don't know. I was thinking of, what's that? Beauty and the Beast? Isn't that Belle?
Yeah. So, yeah.
I guess that name's just a really common princess name.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, too. So, no hate to your dog's name specifically. If you have those, it's fine. But, there's a lot of them. And there's a lot. So, they have to have a middle name at that point.
Ah, that's true. So you're a big proponent of middle names for pets?
If you have a super common name, yes. There you go.
No, that's cool. I like that. I've rarely ever heard of middle names for pets, so I'm gonna get behind that.
There
That's
you
gonna
go.
be a new thing for pets. So yeah, why don't you as a thing for the people to do in the comment section, since this is on YouTube and other places, comment your dog's name.
Yeah.
So we all know what your dog's name is.
Yeah,
We won't
comment
make fun
yours.
of them. We promise we're not making fun of names.
Promise.
We like to promote creativity. So
Yeah.
most creativity might get a shout out on the next episode.
Right. There you go.
So there you go.
Love it. We're gonna hold off on our dog's name for now.
Because we don't want it stolen.
Yeah, we don't want it stolen.
Don't steal our dog's name.
Yeah, it's super nice. But maybe we'll give it away when we actually,
Once he's at home.
once he's home.
Then if you steal it, then we know you stole it.
There you go. But yeah, comment your dog's name. Yeah. We love to see it.
We love to see it, and like I said, we love creativity. So especially if you got a super cool creative name.
Oh yes.
We would love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got over your days in the shelter, right? So after the shelter, you moved on where?
I came to the city, so now I'm in Chicago. And then I worked at an aquarium for a few years. So I kind of did a little bit of everything at the aquarium. So a little dabble into everything, but yeah. So I did customer service. I was cashier. I worked with the animals a little bit. So yeah, everything.
Right. And you mentioned something to me, and I'm sure everybody will be super interested in this, is the fact that even at the aquarium, you guys use dog training methods with the animals, which is nuts.
They had dogs at the aquarium for a little while there too,
Right.
until they got adopted. But
Right.
yeah. Yeah, but it's the same methods that I use. I'm a positive reinforcement trainer. So same thing. Once you see good things you like to see more, you give good rewards for those, and you see them more and more and more. So animals of other species like whales and dolphins and fish, honestly, too, can learn things through that method too. So they can all learn the same things. So good stuff.
That's really cool. Good information to know. So it doesn't mean every dog trainer needs to go to their local zoo and try and train the cats and the big cats and monkeys and things like that. I'm sure they're learning the same methods, but
they are. Yeah.
It doesn't give you lead way to do that.
No.
And that doesn't mean that you learn what you learn from this show and start going to zoos and aquariums and do that either. But observe.
Yeah.
And notice that if it works for them, why wouldn't it work for your pet?
But if you look really closely at the caretakers at a zoo, and especially if you watch the show, The Zoo on the Animal Planet, they talk about it a lot and how they reinforce cooperative care and how they can get the animals to participate in their own health care. That is positive reinforcement. So that is them actively giving permission to do things like blood draws and like taking their food and doing things like that. Like all of that is all incorporated into training and positive reinforcement like that. So
it's a really great thing. All right, so after spending a short stint with aquatic animals and definitely honing in on the fact that you were going to be a trainer full time in life.
Yeah. While I was there, I was also in school twice to get certified as a dog trainer. So kind of doing both things. Yeah. But very busy.
At that point, you kind of did what I think a lot of people want to do in their lives, and you bet it all on yourself. You put all the chips on 23, and you said, "I'm a ride."
Yeah.
So then you started your own business. So tell everybody a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. So I started my own business. It's called RK9 Training. RK9 is basically like a play on words in a way. It's kind of like Toys R Us. So RK9 is like our canines, right? Cute. Um, but yeah, it's literally like a way for us to train our dogs together with a smile. So you're doing it together, and it's not just here, take it, fix it, bring it back. I want you to be able to learn, take the things that I teach you and understand truly what it means to teach your dog what you want to teach them. So I don't have to hold your hand the entire way. You understand what you want them to learn, and you can take what you know and teach new things.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that at least I've noticed. I'm not a trainer myself, but I've noticed that the methods that you use work between behaviors, if that makes sense. So it's not teaching this behavior as a whole new method. It's take the methods that you've used and then perform it again, but with this new skill now.
Yes.
So maybe you can at least give us a little taste of what that's like.
So let's do an example. So when we teach things like leash walking, right? So walking better while on a leash. What when I'm with you, what we're also teaching is things like how a dog is really taking in the world. So I'll point out like, oh, look, they actually noticed a thing over there. Did you notice like their really subtle cues of their face and how it changed when that person walked by, things like that. So you're getting a little bit more than here, march down the street and make sure they don't pull you. It's more than just that. It's really learn your specific dog in this context. So.
And I think you touched on and I'm pretty sure some people don't know the terminology well, but body language is very important to you.
Very. It's one of my top things. So on my Instagram, every Tuesday we learn a little snippet of new things. So you can always learn more. It's something I'm very passionate about.
Right. And that's really cool. I'm glad everyone gets to pick that up from you. And I've noticed things that I've never noticed before. So for someone who doesn't have a dog, to learn as much as I've learned, I'm sure, learn so much from you consistently, especially about things like body language. And they're very subtle things and things that most people wouldn't notice, but it cues everything else past that.
Yeah.
So I know that's one thing you studied a lot of, and you spend a lot of time teaching when it comes to your classes.
Yes. Yeah. It happens really quick. Body language, it can change in 2 seconds, and you can have a full conversation with a dog in 5 seconds, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see.
Right. And maybe one of the episodes we'll probably do some snippets on that too. So that's going to be really cool. But today, just learning the greatness of and the journey of Kelly.
Yeah.
So you've started your own business at this point. Now you were new at that point. We're gonna go in stages, a little timeline.
Yeah.
So what was the most difficult thing about starting a business of your own?
Kind of understanding what I wanted to pinpoint. Because when you get into dog training, you know, everybody kind of does their own thing, and there's a million ways you can, what different aspects you can do. Like there's sport training, there's like at home training that I do. There's, like severe like behavior training, like there's a 100 different things, but to really like pinpoint what you want to do, that takes time, and it takes really like looking at yourself and understanding what you like to understand.
That's some helpful information to any brand new business owner, to be honest. And I think we've all gone through it, at least for those of us who are trying to start our own thing. It's just like, all right, it's great that you want to be a business owner, but what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? What's your goals? Setting goals and pinpointing those first, because everybody wants to do everything. Everybody wants to be the next big thing. But you've done a lot of soul searching and figuring out where you're happiest. So you landed on
Puppies. I love puppies. Yeah, I love going into homes with people that are in Chicago. Um, Going into your homes, helping you in person, um, helping you with the beginning of life success. So we go through the whole what happens with puppies and what makes a successful dog down the road. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've had some cool stories along the way and met some really great people and had some really cool cases, which I'm sure you're going to discuss more in depth later down the line, I'm sure. But let's give you a cool question to start off with. What was the most fun thing to work on, over at least in the beginning of your career?
I love working on like just tricks, I guess. So teaching like sits and downs and things like that, because when you go into a home and the parents are like, oh my god, my dog, I swear he doesn't know anything, and then you're in there for 30 minutes and now the puppy knows 10 new things, they're like, oh my god, he's smart. It's like, yeah, he really is. You just have to know how to talk to him, that's all. And that's where I really love, and that's what I really like to do.
It's that immediate, like I gave everyone hope again, so that's really cool. I don't think you've had any issues, any, like, I guess the best way to say it is cases where you're like, I can't do anything here. Which is, it's a good thing. There's always help for some dog some way. Even if it's not you, it's someone else. It's another avenue or something like that. So that's really cool that you're at least in there and figuring out everything you need to figure out and helping people the best way you can. How about this? What's the easiest thing to teach at this point now?
For sure, most dogs know sit, and if they don't, they get it pretty quick. I love teaching touch, which is putting your hand up and having their nose touch your hand. That has so many uses, and it can be used for their entire life for different things. So that's one of my favorite things to do, and I teach every dog that. But yeah, most dogs know sit, and that's because that's what most people, that's the first thing that they teach. It's pretty easy.
All right. And maybe not what's the most difficult, but how about what's the most, like,
Challenging?
Not challenging, but the thing that you're like, okay, I know your dog doesn't know this, but we need to get your dog at least learning this one new thing.
No. I wouldn't say every dog needs to know it. Most dogs actually don't need to know it, but the most challenging thing actually is getting dogs to lay down. And that's funny because that's like one of the top 5, like, my dog needs to know that thing, and they actually don't. So laying down is a very vulnerable position for most dogs. Like, it's uncomfortable for most of them. So laying down is one of those things that skip it. If you don't necessarily, like, need it, you can skip it for now until they get, like, really comfortable, and then you can learn it later. So
I've noticed that you typically will replace a lay down with a place.
Well,
I won't say replace, but that seems like to be your more common training.
I do place a lot, just because that's more of like a get them to be in a safe. That's a safe zone, right? So if someone is coming into the house, if there's something like, okay, something scary is going on, place is a thing where they can go to. No one's going to be near them or touch them. Like, that's a place that's safe for them. Right. And that's safe zone.
And I think and maybe that's what I meant by it, is I think a lot of people use lie down as, or a replacement for like, because sit was just like, hey, be next to me or be in this place, whereas lie down is like, relax, stay here, don't move. When you're like, no, maybe place is a better thing. It's go to where you're comfortable, not where I think you're comfortable.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's a really cool tool that you use, and I'm like, that's very interesting, at least on my end. And I don't think people understand that that's maybe not the trainer term of a replacement, but just like you're thinking what's best for you, and let's try what's best for the dog.
Right.
So it's just a really cool tool that I think you use, and I think it's something that people need to learn more about. All right. So let's get to some final countdown questions because we're nearing the end of your first episode.
Okay.
First off, you said you are certified in many different avenues, or at least many different fields. Do you want to go through some of those really quick?
I have 2 certifications for dog training. First is through Catch Canine Trainers Academy. I'm certified through Victoria Stillwell's Academy, and I'm a member of the Pet Professional Guild, which is an organization that stands for No Pain, No Force, and No Fear in the Treatment of Animals.
That's pretty impressive. And not that any of them are more important than the other. What's your most proud accomplishment, I guess?
Victoria.
I think that was a no-brainer.
Yeah. I have been watching Victoria Stillwell on TV since I was about this tall. And I have dreamed of being certified by her, and have met her forever. And to be a certified dog trainer through her, it has been an amazing accomplishment, and I love it. So.
And I guess maybe not what made you choose her, but what was the most impressive feat of Victoria that was like, okay, this is the person I need to keep up with?
She is a positive trainer like me. I have never agreed with using force on animals. She has always been a positive trainer and loves animals. So yeah, she's always been in my values. So yeah, she's always been my choice.
That's awesome. And again, at least this is I know about you, and I want others to know is, you are a positive trainer. You pretty much only use positive reinforcement training methods. But what I respect, and I think a lot of people that know you respect you of, is that you did, and you've learned what other methods are. You know why they exist and how they operate.
Yeah.
And you've managed to navigate those avenues and say, okay, I understand why you use those methods, but here's a better method.
Yeah, I don't agree with like aversive training, which is the other side. I don't agree with it. Like, I don't use it, but I understand why other people do. I don't feel like those are bad people in no way. Like, they're out here loving animals like everybody does. They just are trying to solve an issue that they see, and that's how they see fits, right? And they just have some learning to do, and some people feel like that's the way that things go, and there's other ways to do things.
And again, that's what I said. It's not a negative thing. It's, hey, that's an old school way, and this is the new school way.
Right.
And a new school way has definitely worked for you.
There's science that backs it up.
Right.
There's a lot of research that says this works. So
that's all.
There you go.
It's just, this is the new school way, and it's worked for you. It's worked for all of your clients thoroughly. I can definitely attest to that. And I'm sure some of your clients who are listening right now can definitely attest to that. They're just like, no, this is it. This is the move. So it's really cool that you've continued to learn, and you've broadened your horizon as much as possible, and understood every method. But you're like, look, this is the one. This is the one that sticks, and this is the one that works longevity. So nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's a negative bit about that whatsoever. Sometimes you just got to do what works.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think that'll wrap up the first episode for you, right?
Yeah.
So is there anything you want to let everybody know before you go?
If you have any questions for the show, if you want me to talk about any subjects about your dogs, or you have anything you want me to talk about on the podcast, comment down below or send me an email at rk9dogs@gmail.com. If you want, or if you're in Chicago and you want some training, you can also email me and we can talk about it. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can also follow me at RK9 Training LLC. And that's where I'm most active. So you can get some fun puppy tips every week.
All right. And if it makes it any easier, because I'm the man behind the screen, I get to put those links right in the description below. So all you have to do is just open up the description and click a couple buttons. I'll make it super easy.
Or that. There you go.
Yeah, but of course there's plenty of ways to keep up with her. There's plenty of easy ways to contact her to find out if you need training of your own. So do those things. Make sure you support the show. And thank you for listening. It's been fun. Did you have fun today?
Oh yeah, super fun.
And next episode it'll be even more fun always.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about other things other than me.
But if you have more questions for her, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
All right, and that's been an episode. We'll see you guys next time. Wave goodbye.
Bye.